I'm from Indiana, but I'm a Red Sox fan.
And I'm from Minnesota, but I'm a Yankees fan.
And welcome to the Rivalry Out of State, our series where we just talk baseball here on the Running the Table podcast. And in our last episode, we covered most of the major free agents that have found new homes, but we forgot one. We saved one that is particularly special for both of our franchises, and that is highly sought after shortstop, Trevor Story. He has found a home with the good guys. So, Andrew,
The
are you
good
ready?
guys.
Yeah, you guys are the evil empire. Somebody's got to wear the white hat and somebody's got to wear the black hat.
Whatever, man.
Accepted. We are the good guys in this narrative. But without further ado, are you ready to run it and talk about what would have been your shortstop, but now is our second baseman?
Oh, yeah. I am so ready to run it. Let's
Let's
do it.
let's do it. So March 20th, the Red Sox signed Trevor Story to a 6-year, $140 million contract. The last major shortstop is off the free agent market and is coming home to Beantown. Chaim Bloom got his guy. Now, the contract, breaking it down, Trevor Story is earning $22.5 million from this season all the way until 2027. He has a club option for that seventh year worth $25 million. And he has an opt out after year 4, which the club can void by picking up the club option. So, about this contract, I was originally not too high on Trevor Story because I feel like he would have made a lot of money that he's not exactly worth. And I was definitely right about that. $22.5 million isn't cheap. But then when I did a little bit, like later dive, I realized that was the same contract that Javier Baez got from Detroit. And Story is much more deserving of this figure than Baez. So that makes me, a little bit better, makes me feel a little bit better about this situation. But then again, I am arguably the president of the Javier Baez hate fan club because I do not like Javier Baez. He's so overrated, but I can go on about that. This is about Trevor Story. So Trevor Story is coming off of a down year in 2021 where he only hit around 250. His home run numbers were down. His RBI numbers were down. On base percentage, slugging percentage, OPS, by all major categories, he was down. And in WRC plus, he was completely average. He was at 100. But before the COVID shortened season, we don't really talk about 2020 as kind of a mulligan, 60 games, not big enough sample size. I think that's fair to say. In 2018 to 2019, those are Trevor Story's best years, where he was looking like one of the best shortstops in the league, where he represented the National League at the All-Star game in both of those seasons. In both of those seasons, he also was the Silver Slugger for the National League at shortstop, and he was top 12 in NL MVP voting for both of those years as well. So my initial reaction is, if we get the 2021 Trevor Story, this deal is going to age like meat. However, if we get the 2018 to 2019 Trevor Story, this is going to be an absolutely amazing deal. And we have our second baseman, maybe shortstop for the next 6 years. That's just in case Bogarts leaves. But then, Andrew, what do you have to make of this signing?
Well, talked about Correa, and I've always thought if it wasn't Correa, let's get Story. And Jason, just the thought of that, because I've said that to you many times,
Yes, you have.
many, many times. I still can't believe it took you that long to be happy about him.
I do a lot of research and convincing to realize that Trevor Story was a good thing. And the bottom line is the Red Sox are clearly a better baseball team with Trevor Story at second base than what our alternatives would be, which would have been Christian Arroyo and Jonathan Arauz. So Story, clearly a better baseball player. Was it costly? Yes. But I think it will be worth it in terms of winning ball games, even in the short term, because now with Trevor Story at second base, we have one of the most dangerous offensive infields in all of Major League Baseball. And now we're set. I mean, we already have a shortstop in Xander Bogaerts, but getting Trevor Story gives us a backup plan in case Xander Bogaerts decides to exercise his opt-out in his contract after this season. I mean, we did keep him happy by saying okay, you can play shortstop. We'll shift Story over to second base because we want him to stay. And, we would much rather have both. But if he leaves, Trevor Story at least gives the Red Sox a viable option, as a backup. So I think at the end of the day, I'll live with it. I'll live with it.
Man, you sound so spoiled saying that. I'll live with it. Man, the
what,
amount of teams I would love to talk to you with that statement. That's crazy.
well, first of all, going into the free agency period, I was not as high on Trevor Story as a lot of people were. You know, only after like digging into the analytics and like digging into the stats that are where I'm like, okay, fine, I guess this is a positive thing. And there's nothing I can do about it. He's on the Red Sox. He'll be on the Red Sox for at least the next 4 years. So got to become a fan somehow.
Yeah, what a tough thing to accomplish, becoming a fan of Trevor Story on your team.
Well, guess what? It's something that you couldn't do, which is a great segue to the Yankees and their inability to sign anybody this offseason, which I was going to show a little bit of sympathy for. But now when you word it like that, I don't feel as bad because look at how spoiled you sound. Come on, where's our big name shortstop? Where's our big splash free agent signing? Your big splash was 2 years, $32 million for Anthony Rizzo. Woo!
Yay, consolation.
Oh, yeah.
That's how I felt about that, at least.
Brian
Let me get it
Cashman's
straight.
inactivity has been absolutely it's beautiful. Chef's kiss. Love seeing it. But you obviously have different thoughts. I've talked about my Red Sox. You could talk about your Yankees for a little bit.
Sure, sure. So let me make myself straight real quick. I do not hate Anthony Rizzo. He is a good first baseman, but here's the problem. We made that deal when Freddie Freeman was still a free agent. That alone should tell you that, we'll just go cheap and call it a day. And you bring up expense earlier with Trevor Story. Look, the fan bases that we have, cost doesn't matter. There's no salary cap in baseball. Sure, there's the luxury tax, but hell, our teams will pay for it. I
Yeah,
mean,
and then
win
that's a
way
good
more
point because
games.
I'm worried about, how much it's going to cost to sign Trevor Story, but then I forget I'm a fan of the Boston Red Sox where cost doesn't like even matter a little bit. And another thing about us getting Trevor Story is now we have two quality shortstops. You guys don't exactly have that.
We do not. And hey, I mean, if in some odd case 2019 Glaber Torres comes back, then we will.
You're
But
banking on 2019 Glaber
I
Torres.
am not banking on 2019. I do not think he can reach that. I mean, there's always a thing with young players when they're really good for 1 year and then they just kind of fall off because pitchers figure them out. As much as I hate saying it, I think that happened to Glaber Torres. And our other option is Isaiah Kiner Falefa, who we traded from the Twins a few weeks ago. I mean, he's good at defense,
He's a
but
converted catcher, third baseman, shortstop.
who knows? Maybe we could bring him back to catcher and have him start there. I don't know. I really don't know. Yeah, you can tell it's not looking too good for me. And I'm sure you're loving every moment of it.
Well,
I
yes.
wish, like, I don't know what Cashman's thinking. Like, did he just look at our 2019 team and say, hey, that was good. Let's just not change anything. And I'm sure they'll get the exact same results they did that year because that ain't happening. We were lucky to make the playoffs last year, and we've done next to nothing. So I think we'll be lucky to even scrape 90 wins.
Well, and I think that's been the Yankees offseason in a nutshell. But, hey, we have Trevor Story. We made our big free agent signing. We're ready to go for opening day. And the Yankees they'll be ready. Will they be ready?
Hey, I mean,
Hey,
Aaron Boone,
that's not my area of expertise to say. It's not my place to say whether the Yankees are ready. I'm just the Red Sox fan who has Trevor Story now at second base.
hey, I mean, Aaron Boone said we could win a World Series with what we got. So surely that'll work, right? Just like how successful he's been in all of our other playoff runs. Yeah, I'm sure.
All right. I think we can tell that Andrew is relatively spiteful. We can go on about our outlook for the season, for our respective teams in a future video, which I'm sure we will with opening day right around the corner. But that's all we got. Trevor Story is officially the Red Sox second baseman, and I love it. Like and subscribe for more of the rivalry out of state, and go watch our other stuff here on Running the Table, where we have college basketball, we have NFL, we have a little bit of hockey, a little bit of college football that we did a couple months ago. I don't know. The sports train never stops here. And in the month of March, it's been a wild, wild month. There's no signs of slowing down. But until next time, we out.